Welcome to the Forum, your way to keep up with state and community leaders, experts, and local business leaders. This is your chance to hear from and talk to people that affect your life right here in Rim Country. You can express your opinions by calling 474-2427. And remember, the comments and opinions of guests and callers are not necessarily the opinions of KMOG. Welcome to Rim Country Forum.
Good morning and happy Tuesday to you. Long night last night at the town hall meeting. And the good news is we're not going to talk about that today. I'm feeling good about that. How about you, Francis?
I'm doing good. It's been a good week this week.
Good. 5 minutes after 9 o'clock, you're listening to the Rim Country Forum here on KMOG. I'm Charlie Seraphin. Francis Basic is the other voice that you've heard in the background here. And we're going to talk about all things general store and untamed herbs and what's going on in the cannabis world here in Payson. We want to thank our sponsors, the Dana Law Group, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, Pinnacle Propane, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, the Owens Law Firm, and Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration. Francis, as I read through the sponsors here and I read about Banner Health and Payson Medical Center, I'm reminded, and I don't think we may have passed over it, but I don't think we really talked about it in any depth. You did an online program with Banner Health.
I did.
Right? What kind of questions did they have? What did you talk about?
A lot of the similar questions that we get on the radio when we're talking here, as far as what can they do at home, what plants are they allowed to have as far as the adult use, where can they get their medicine, what to start with, and and then a couple of them had questions of the initials we use all the time: THC, CBD, CBN, and all those things. And what a lot of people didn't realize is that those cannabinoids you can actually take by themselves too. You can isolate CBN and CBG and all these other things and take them, and they have their own medicinal benefits by themselves, as well as a collaborated medical use when they're all used together too. So
how would you do that? How do you separate the various cannabinoids?
It's really science. So each different cannabinoid has its own boiling point. So when you set it to its own, you set the temperature to that boiling point, and a evaporation system or a distillate system, basically that cannabinoid starts to heat up, and the system itself cools it down after it detaches itself away from all the other cannabinoids, and it basically puts it into its own vessel. And then you run it through this 3 or 4 times. The first time you might up the percentage of CBG in your vial by 30%, and then the next time, because you're starting with a higher concentration, it goes up more and more and more until finally you get everything out of it, and the CBG or CBN is the only thing left.
You say you do that. You do that. No, I don't do that. But
yes, we do that.
You do
yes.
that. Okay,
yes,
you
yes.
do that as a company. And then
we actually use more full spectrum than we use isolates and stuff like that. But it is becoming more prevalent out there that there's certain cannabinoids that are being used by themselves. Specifically, CBN. CBN is a sleep agent. It really helps help people get sleep. It's what you've heard, indica and sativa, and indica is like couch. It kind of puts you to the point where you don't really want to do nothing and go to sleep, and that's the CBN that's in that, and that's what people are isolating, and they're talking 2 to 4 milligrams, and people are getting 6 hours of sleep every night without waking up. So if you without a prescription, medical marijuana prescription, can you buy that? Yeah, absolutely. So the only one that's really regulated that you need a medical marijuana card is the THC and THCA, and Delta 8 is a little bit of a issue depending on your lawyer, what they say as far as you can sell it or not. But any of the other cannabinoids don't have the psychoactive effect that THC does. So those other cannabinoids are in other products, and you can buy a lot of them at grocery stores and convenience stores right now. So
they have them at the general store?
We do. We have CBG capsules over there. We're working on some CBN ones right now, but we do have CBG capsules, and CBG is kind of like It's the precursor to everything. It's the mother cannabinoid. You can't have any other cannabinoids without CBG. Everything degrades from CBG into the other cannabinoids. But it has, my wife won't take it afternoon because it gives her a lot of energy and she has a hard time sleeping if she takes it too close to bedtime. So a lot of people are taking it in the morning time and just kind of getting that little, I don't want to say energy like coffee. It's more of like you just don't want to quit. Like it's just you feel like you can keep going and keep going and keep going. It doesn't give you that slack off during the daytime. It kind of just keeps you moving forward.
But it's not psychoactive. So
it's not
what is traditionally associated with THC and
absolutely
smoking pot.
So like with THC and stuff like that, it's I call it the line in the sand. And when you smoke it or eat it, there's a line in the sand, and when you cross that, you're high or you're pain relieved or whatever, and you feel it when you cross it. A lot of the other cannabinoids don't have that line in the sand. It's just, oh man, I'm starting to feel tired, or oh, I'm going to go do this. It's not like all of a sudden you feel this way differently. It's just slowly kind of builds up, and you're just like either tired or you feel like you can do more in the yard. Or with my wife, she suffers from migraines, and the reflection of glass and stuff like that can really trigger them. And when she's on the CBG, it actually reduces that significantly, and the glare doesn't seem to bother her as much.
What are the negative side effects of these cannabinoids that are not the THC or marijuana?
As of right now, all the research points there's really no side effects that can be told, especially with people who are taking them in the minor amounts that they are. Unfortunately, with it was classified as a class 1 drug, people only wanted to do the research on THC, so none of the research really got done on all the other cannabinoids. But in Israel, they've been using it for over 50 years, and they really have no known side effects or bad, unless you have an allergy to it, which is very rarely comes about because you have cannabinoids in your system, because we have an endocannabinoid system, so it's really hard to have an allergy to something that your body is meant to consume or meant to process. So I don't know any known side effects to those cannabinoids as of right now.
When you say they're using it in Israel, are you talking about a colony of hippies there that are...
No, actually, if you go to the hospital, one of the first things they give you for dehydration and stuff like that is CBD-infused water and stuff like that. And CBD is one of the first things they start giving you for your body to regulate, because they know that CBD helps the endocannabinoid system regulate all the other systems. And so it's the starter before they do anything else.
All right. There's a little background for you. If you follow any of that, there's a lot of letters moving in that. We know that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be almost...
And if we use the words, it'd be just as confusing. Tetrahydrocannabinol, and each initial is initialed because it's like a 12-syllable word. So, yeah.
All right. Well, Chef Francis, you are employed by a company that operates both a general store and a dispensary.
Correct. Well,
sort of.
Manufacturing.
So what's going on?
Okay. So basically, there's several parts to a license. You have the retail part of it, you have the manufacturing part, you have the growing part, and then you have an off-site grow and manufacturing. And what's happening with us is we leased out our retail spot and the retail part of the license, and the people that leased that was Jars, and Jars decided to use the license in the Valley for the medical. We then got a new license with Jars for the recreational, but the laws in town were written for medical marijuana only, so the laws had to be changed to adult use. That's in the process. I believe the first week of August it's supposed to be completed with all the votes and stuff or whatever. Jars is supposed to be starting construction within the next 2 weeks of redoing our front of our store. And when they start doing that, we're hoping within 45 days to 60 days that will actually be open for recreational retail at the present location.
In that explanation, there were a couple of supposed tos and hoping.
Well,
and,
a lot of it, because
a
lot of it relies on, like right now, anybody that's getting construction done or doing anything, you can't rely on a time frame, because to get somebody to come to your house right now, almost everybody's 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks out, because everybody's swamped with work and there's not enough people working. That's a lot of the supposed tos and stuff like that. As far as the timeline is written pretty well. It's if the construction can get up and going, and then we have to rely on DHS to come up and do an inspection. And they're usually pretty quick. We have a really good working relationship with them. But if there's another outbreak, if there's something else, they get preoccupied, and then things like this get put on the back burner. So the things that can stop it would be construction and a lengthy DHS inspection that they don't get up here in time.
What about the town and adjusting the existing regulations that the town have on...
We've had no pushback on that, and everything seems to be going forward with no issues. So it was, from my understanding, it was a simple terminology they had to change in the bylaws. So,
and the county was looking at some legislation that would outlaw any distribution of cannabis in the unincorporated rural areas of Gila County. Are you aware of that?
I was not aware of that.
Yeah. So so there's one in Globe now. There's a dispensary in Globe.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there's supposed to be the license that was won with our license, I believe, is going in Globe. That's what we were told.
But we don't know if that's operating at this point?
I don't know if it's operating or if they have to do construction or get inspected or anything else. I can get more information on that for the next time that I come in. But.
Okay. Here we go. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Good morning. This is Joe Magadatz.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, you need to become edumacated, and I said that wrong for a reason because it's kind of funny. But, the stigmatism that's related to medical cannabis, which we don't call it pot, and we don't smoke pot, we medicate. So I would change your attitude against it because I don't want to call all drinkers alcoholics or liquor bags. Anyway, I'm glad that you guys are on the show and educate the people and do something with your dispensary because people are just writing bad things about it and they'll never go back to you. So you guys created a web. So anyway, good luck with your venture and get educated.
I want to get educated here, Joe. So what do you mean they're writing bad things about the dispensary? What's going on that you're referring to? Because I'm not in that loop.
Okay, they closed it and they left the people with the medical marijuana cards out to dry, and they had to go down to the valley, and they lied about something about. They weren't going to close, or they were going to do this. And if you call up and you want to place an order, you got to be there a certain time. Over the internet, you got to do it. Which people don't like to use the computer. They don't like to put their trash out on the street, more or less.
Yeah, I hear you.
And they're going to run up the Sholo to get it. They're going to bring it back. You got to be there between a couple of hours to pick it up in their parking lot outside, so that everybody else could be watching who's doing what. And it's just a bad thing. And just go on the line and read for yourself. I didn't put anything on there, just my thoughts. I don't do it anymore. So, the risk of me doing the opioids that I used to do, or the painkillers years ago, are more risky and will kill you quicker than over-the-counter Aleve and stuff like that. So I take Aleve PM now. It puts me to sleep. Yeah, that has problems with it, too, because it's ibuprofen. And it made my stomach bleed back in the day when the doctors had me on that instead of pain pills, because they used to make my head spin and puke. So anyway...
That's pretty graphic there, Joe. You got quite a bit going on there.
Yeah. I've been around the block a few times. I'm 67 now, and I worked hard all my life, and I actually blew out 3, 4, and 5 of my lower lumbar.
Yeah.
My leg got paralyzed, and anyway, God's restoring me, and He recycles. Anyway, have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you, Joe. Appreciate your call. Rode hard, put up wet. That's what I used to say, right?
Well, I would like to just respond to that a little bit. We did try to do our best as far as letting people know that we were going to close. Unfortunately, DHS had the final say to that and didn't give us any notice that the license was moved. We were expecting to have a 45-day window and to let people, and we had a 24-hour window. The delivery service outside that people are picking up things, that was our answer to people not being able to have their medical marijuana in town. So it was we partnered with a sister dispensary, Sholo, and right now it has a limited menu, but by the end of this week they're going to be going with their full menu. So if you were to walk into Sholo or order online through the platform, the same amount of products would be available to you. So instead of the limited inventory we've had for the past 3 months, it's actually going to be a full-blown inventory like any dispensary. So people will be able to get a lot more options and a lot better flower and quality items.
Does Sholo have a walk-in adult recreational use dispensary?
They're a full dispensary. This is only for medical, though, for us. So
for you, but
right.
for if somebody's going to drive up to Sholo,
I would actually have to. I would actually call first and make sure that they do have the adult use going up there. I know they started it. I just don't know if they've continued it because they're so far out there. A lot of the other dispensaries don't ship product as easily up there, and they have issues with availability on certain things. But your best bet is to give a call. And I did want to bring up that the 25th of this month, actually, I think it's this Thursday, or this next week, Monday, they will be having a expunge your record, basically, up there for marijuana criminal records. So if you have minor criminal issues or whatever, you can go to greenhillspatientcenter.com and schedule an appointment and meet with lawyers, and these lawyers are walking people through for free to get things taken off their record that have to do with cannabis or low rate crimes that have to do with cannabis or anything that happened in the last 15, 20 years that's maybe hanging you up at getting a job or hanging you up from passing a background check or something like that. These guys are all working diligently to clear up people's records.
Who's paying for that?
Normal. National Organization for the Recreational Marijuana Laws. And
I thought it was Reform of Marijuana Laws.
Reform of Marijuana.
Yes, I do know
yes,
that
yes,
acronym. Okay.
Yes. And basically, they're doing this at a bunch of different dispensaries. They've already done 3 or 4 in the Valley at major dispensaries. They're going to do one in Sholo, and then we'll probably do one next month in town for people that missed it. But it's a resource that is free. Walk-ins are available up there during it, and it's something that if you have anything on your record that has to do with cannabis that you're questioning, you should really talk to these people because to get it cleared off it's supposed to be a pretty simple process. And if they can't do it the first day, they actually keep lawyers working with you until the process is finished. So
there you go. 474-2427. Chef Francis here from General Store and the not functional dispensary right now, but hopefully, probably, maybe at some point in some period.
We're hoping 45 days. It's just hard to. We just don't like to get. It's hard to guarantee anything in today's world. But the timeline looks like 45 days. We should be solid.
Okay, here's a bottom line question that just popped into head.
Sure.
If the voters approved the initiative to legalize the use of marijuana in Arizona, and with a lot of different aspects of that law. Here in Gila County, not exactly a lot of dispensaries going on. Maybe one in Globe, we're not sure.
Right.
Maybe one in Sholo, we're not sure of whether they're.
I'm not sure if Sholo's rec. I'm a medical patient my whole life. So
there you go. Okay. All right. So, but in terms of the recreational, isn't it logical to assume that the people who are selling marijuana in Payson and in Globe and in Sholo and throughout Gila County in the area right now are illegal drug guys? The drugs are coming through the cartel.
Mm-hmm.
The marijuana is there, and they're selling it on the black market because the legalized market isn't functional now.
DHS didn't do a very good job at distributing licenses or making it easy. When they did the backfill licenses for Gila County, which is a really large county, very spread out, there was only 2 backfill licenses. So it really limited to where things could go. And it made it so you have 2 different worlds. You have Oklahoma, where they have 1,200 licensed dispensaries because there's no cap on how many they can have. They can have one on every street corner for 7 miles if they wanted to. There's nothing. And then you have places like Arizona where it relates to how many pharmacies are in the area and how many liquor stores. It has to, that's how many they count, how many available licenses there are. But they don't take into consideration, like up here, now there's no medical license because they let it move. You know, they're the ones that set the laws that said once you put a license into place for 3 years, it's allowed to move to a different place. And so they didn't really set the laws up for the average person to be looked out after to be able to get their marijuana. And that's one of the worst things out there, because not only do we have Gila County, but Surprise and a bunch of other places that are really large down in the valley, people have moved all their medical marijuana dispensaries out of there into more populated areas so they can make more money.
Unintended consequences.
Or intended, who knows? I mean, you know, the people that write these laws are the people that are making money off of these laws, you know.
Oh.
The people who do the testing laws are the testing facilities. I mean, it's there. Nothing is done the way you think it should, you know. When they had a board for testing, I put an application in for it, and when I saw who won all the applications and who was on the board, they were owners of the labs, they were the owners of dispensaries, and the guy who was the patient owned 2 dispensaries, but he was the patient, supposed to be the patient's voice. And it was like no patients got represented. Everybody with money got represented, but no one with, not the patients, not the average Joe.
Well, we're going to have to talk to our elected state representative sometime about the complexity of that. That's something that we would not have considered.
Well, I mean, that's the way of the life, though. When you find somebody that's starting to try to change the banking laws, it's not me and you going out there and trying to change them. It's people with money trying to change it so they can make more money. You know, and that's, then they start a committee for it, and it's the committee that's going to be making money that's making the laws for them to make money.
What a tangled web we weave.
Yes.
474-2427 is the number if you have a question or a comment for Chef Francis about this whole topic of cannabis in Gila County and Payson and specifically, and dispensaries and laws and testing facilities and who's making money and who's not. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. 26 minutes now after 9 o'clock.
It's the face you remember but almost don't. Like you remember the map but forgot the back roads. Faint freckle on the cheek. Ears wiggle as they speak. That face-to-face, arm in arm. Embrace for the first time in far, far, far too long. That feeling. That's community. A return to sanity. That shot you got. It's not just a vaccine. It's a shot of humanity. Get vaccinated today. A message from Banner Health.
The Dana Law Group will educate and guide you through the entire estate planning process. Wills, trusts, power of attorney, and probate representation. You know estate planning is important. Don't put it off. Having a proper estate plan means your assets will be dispersed according to your wishes. Consultation is free. The Dana Law Group, 431 South Beeline Highway. Set your mind at ease. Don't wait. Call them today. Dana Law Group, 928-445-4440. Dirty carpet, tile, upholstery, wood floors, oriental rugs. Trust all your cleaning needs to the experts. Air conditioning, vents and ducts, flood or fire damage, mold removal. Trust the experts. Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, 511 South Beeline. Jesse Clark and the Sunshine staff, certified and reliable for over 30 years. Trust the experts to be on site within 1 hour in the Payson area for emergency water extraction. Emergency or just a dirty carpet? Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, 474-2521.
It's a Tuesday edition of the Rim Country Forum. Charlie Seraphin with you, along with Chef Francis from the general store and the dispensary. What's the name of the dispensary? If the
Jars.
Dispensary jars.
Yeah.
So if the town council votes to amend the existing ordinance that says that you can only have what? How,
so the way
walk me through.
Yeah, no worries. The way the law was written was that you could have a medical marijuana dispensary inside the town limits, and the terminology has to be changed to medical marijuana or an adult use dispensary. Because there's two different laws that regulate each one. So the terminology, so with adult use, there's a whole section of testing that we have to go off of that's different than the medical. The medical.
Why is that? How does that work?
I have no idea why that is. It doesn't make sense to me. It seemed, again, when that was voted in, the people with the most money were to lose more on the adult use by having to pay more for the testing, and they tried to make it so it was easier for adult use SKUs to get out the door and into the dispensaries. As far as
in terms of the quality control, there's more quality control for medical use marijuana.
Yes,
and less quality control in terms of testing for adult recreational use.
It's minimal, but there is a difference between the two. As far as there's certain herbicides that you have to test for medical, but not necessarily recreational yet. So, and then they're actually pulling that one too, because to come find out that they're having everybody test for this herbicide that's no one even uses in the state of Arizona. Like, it's not even.
But there's other herbicides that they use that they're not testing for,
and that's the issue. But and it's funny because you can go to a store and the medical marijuana you're getting is safe of pesticides, or at least the 59 they test for. It's safe for heavy metals. But if you go buy a banana, you have no clue what that thing has.
Which would lead to the statement that medical marijuana is healthier for you than a banana?
No. It's just
that you don't know, because there's a
right. I mean, if they're going to set standards on one thing that you're putting into your body, those standards should be on everything that's going into your body. If you took a pack of cigarettes and put them through the same testing that marijuana has to go through, it would fail unbelievably, because
I hope so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because the chemicals and heavy metals, none of that's really in there tested. So
they didn't think of that when they were making a lot of money on selling cigarettes. They didn't.
Well, no. But the big tobacco is one of the ones that put a lot of money up to make it harder and harder for cannabis to be sold. And I was always hoping that would backfire on them, and it would make it harder for them to sell cigarettes, because they're both smokable products. Why does one have more laws than the other one?
Well, I think that people can figure that out. You figured that out. We don't even have to answer that rhetorical question there. So is there a chance?
So I just got a word that Green Hills Patient Center is adult use too. So if you wanted to go to Green Hills Patient Center in Show Low as a recreational patient, non-medical card holder, you can go right in and get your medicine.
When you say recreational patient, that's confusing to some people.
It's because I work in 2 different states, and here it's adult use, and in Massachusetts it's recreational. So unfortunately, I get the terminology, but it's the same thing. It's just adult use is recreational cannabis.
Yeah, but it's not you say patient. You always put patient on it.
Always put patient. As far as I'm concerned, whether you're taking it because you think it's helping you medically or not, it's helping you some way. So
okay. My question was going to be, is there a chance that the Payson Town Council would or might do something that would restrict your company's ability to reopen a adult use recreational marijuana facility in Payson?
They've showed no signs of not going along with it. So the simple changing of the laws every time that the Andrew, the owner, and Pam, the COO, has gone into the town. I think they've had 3 meetings with them, and one was a night meeting or whatever, where they put it on the ballot and everything. No one objected to it. No one seemed to have issues with it, and it was just something that was it seemed like a formality than it did an actual process.
What if they did? I mean, can a community, and you're more familiar with the law, and I'm not that familiar, but can a community or a governmental entity, even though it's legal in the state, can they outlaw the sale of marijuana within their jurisdiction?
I'm sure that there's a way to do it. I mean, in Colorado, there's several places that aren't legal for medical marijuana, even though the whole state is. There's a lot of counties that won't allow it and stuff like that. There's, I guess you would call them dry counties, basically. So it is possible for something like that to happen. But if Payson did something like that, we still have the jars would have other places to go, Star Valley. They could go to Pine, things like that. So, and it's a lot of taxes. So keeping it in the town makes the most sense.
When you say it's a lot of taxes, how much money approximately could the town generate in taxes?
Jars is hoping to have between $200,000 and $600,000 in sales a month. So I think the state tax on that, or the local tax on that's like 6% or something like that. So
it's a significant revenue source for the town. This is a very conservative community.
Yes,
know
it
that,
is.
Right?
Yes.
And there are a lot of people who, and you hear it in discussion all the time. If you say the word marijuana, they say gateway drug, and
right.
That's
and we've had
attitude.
this discussion a lot.
Right, and
right.
they're not coming off that anytime
as they're
soon.
putting 14 scoops of sugar in their coffee with the gateway drug.
Sugar is a gateway drug. That's what you're saying, right?
Sugar, coffee, both of them are.
Yeah. So you stopped drinking coffee, yeah?
I still drink the 1 cup a day. I went a week and a half without coffee, and I was so exhausted by like noon every day that I ended up having to have that 1 cup in the morning. It was just something that helped my body go. I even tried ginseng and other like natural alternatives to keep my body, and the coffee, I still have to have that half a cup or a cup of coffee in the morning.
So you have a caffeine addiction?
I would say I do, because I 7 days without it, I was having physical withdrawals.
Huh.
So I mean,
everybody is so different. You know what? I don't know how many years ago now, but and caffeine doesn't really bother me a whole lot, other than if I drink a cup of coffee afternoon, I'm not going to sleep well. Mm-hmm. It wires me. But I went to decaf. Of course, you say there's a lot of bad stuff in decaf too, right?
Just do a little bit of Googling on the process and how many chemicals.
Okay, so tell me about that. Just
it's similar to what I was saying as far as stripping out the different cannabinoids. That process can use harsh chemicals and gases and things like that, and they have to extract it all and make sure that it's safe and everything, residual solvents. And caffeine, it's very similar. They have to wash it through chemicals and then evaporate it and then wash it through something else and keep knocking that caffeine out of there. Your best bet's to drink a no caffeine tea or something like that, where you don't have to go through that process. I've always thought of every time you put something black and dark in your system and then it comes up clear, just drink the clear stuff so your body doesn't have to work as hard.
No. Well, I don't know what other chemicals I'm taking in my decaf coffee, but I've been drinking it for years and years, and I don't.
My mom actually just went back to regular coffee. She was, I think, 10 years on decaf, and she went back to regular coffee, and she has a small cup in the morning and one in the afternoon, and that's it. And she feels that she actually sleeps better and regulates her body more than when she was on the decaf.
So much of it is psychosomatic, because I'm thinking of my my wife, who, she's really dependent on that coffee. Now, she has also probably within the last year switched over and doesn't notice a tremendous difference between drinking decaf, and they say there's caffeine in decaf anyway, but drinking decaf
trace elements,
coffee,
and maybe that's all your body needs.
Yeah, or maybe your body doesn't need it at all. But psychologically, it's like, I've got to have that dark, warm, hot, drink in my system in the morning to wake up. And it's like, no. In fact, today I didn't have any coffee, decaf or otherwise, because I got behind on my schedule, and I don't think it makes a difference.
Yeah,
I think
now for a couple of days it didn't with me. I mean, I was fine, but close to day 6 and 7, I was starting to get drained.
You did, Francis? You started thinking about it. That's what happened. You started really thinking about it. You're thinking like, oh man, I haven't had that coffee.
I don't remember really thinking about it at all. But it could have been just me relating it to coffee. Maybe I wasn't sleeping good at night. Maybe there was 10 other things going on, and I was just like, I'll just start drinking coffee again. Okay. Quick answer.
23 minutes before 10 o'clock. You're listening to the Rim Country Forum here on KMOG. Chef Francis is with us today. We're going to take a little break, take care of some business, and when we return, we are going to talk about about what's going on at the general store.
Yep.
'Cause there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and they actually sent me some questions they wanted me to answer and everything else. So,
Okay, cool. Here we go.
Alliant Gas Pinnacle Propane is Rim Country's longest-running propane company and number one source for safe, reliable propane service and delivery throughout the area. Their many dedicated and experienced customer service representatives are ready to assist you 7 to 5 p. Monday through Friday with after-hours on-call and emergency service readily available. Propane is safe, economical, and environmentally friendly. Alliant Gas, Pinnacle Propane, 474-2294. Remember, be safe and call 811 before you dig. You should feel confident and be able to trust your attorney's expertise when it's needed most. At the Owens Law Firm, your attorney will handle your case from start to finish. That's why attorney Jared Owens has been voted best attorney in the Best of the Rim and recognized by Super Lawyers magazine. To schedule a consultation with an award-winning attorney to discuss preparing a trust, will, probate, or other matter, call 928-472-4303 or go online to owenslawaz.com for more information.
Hi everybody, Jeff Murtaugh, CEO and designated broker of Real Estate Executives Arizona Territory. Real Estate Executives Arizona Territory is proud of Kim Ross, voted the 2021 Best Realtor, Best Broker, and Best Female Business Person in the Rim Country. Congratulations, Kim. Very well deserved. When you're looking to buy or sell real estate, hire the best. Real Estate Executives Arizona Territory is powered by the expert agents in 28 offices throughout the state of Arizona. We do residential and commercial. We are a full-service brokerage. Contact us at our website at realestateexecutives.com.
How you doing? Did you go to that, were you at the town hall meeting last night at the high school to talk about the proposed park and multi-generational center? They've changed the name of it now. We used to call it community center. We'll have a program on Friday. We have Common Sense Friday. We'll look for your feedback on that. I saw my friend Don there, and I went to say hi to him when he was leaving, but by the time I got up in the back, he was already out of the building. So sorry I missed you, Don, if you're listening this morning. We'll catch up again on Friday, and I saw you had a copy of the audio version of One Stupid Mistake, and I thought that I thought you're going to take it up there and hold it up as an example of what was going on, but that didn't happen. So anyway, so Chef Francis, what's going on at the Payson General Store?
They're actually doing really well over there. They've got a lot of events they do on the weekends and stuff. And once or twice a month, they've done a couple things with the Humane Society as far as adoption clinics and things like that. Omar and Joey are doing a great job over there bringing people in, and they have a really nice little setup over there for you to place your orders online for pickup over at the dispensary for the medical cannabis patients and things like that. And they have a lot of specials that they've been doing with a lot of our tinctures and capsules. They also they asked me to talk a little bit about nanotechnology because they've had a lot of questions of people coming in because everybody's starting to understand the cannabinoids and the different uses of them and everything else, and now people are throwing in nanotechnology, and people are like, well, what's nanotechnology? And what it is
let me ask that question. What is nanotechnology?
Thank you. That was a great lead up. Awesome. Basically, what they do is they chop up the cannabinoids to a much finer size. And what that means is they're more easily absorbed throughout the body and into the receptors. So instead of taking 10 milligrams and your body only accepting 3 or 4 of it, when you take 10 milligrams with nanotechnology, your body actually may get 5, 6, or 7 milligrams. So the bioavailability becomes a lot easier when you have the smaller nanotechnology.
Are they doing that with THC as well?
They are doing that with THC. We're actually working with a company right now that's working with nano and liposomal technology.
Liposomal?
Liposomal. So that's very similar to...
liposuction?
No.
No.
It's but liposuction is fat suction.
Right. Right.
So liposomal is putting fats on the outside of the THC and CBD. What that means is when it enters your body, most things when it enters your body, the first thing your body does is try to fight it because they think it's an outside source that's not supposed to be there. With nanotechnology or the liposomal, it's looked at as, oh, this is a friend. This is something that's supposed to be in our body because it's already fat. It's already this. So it's taken into the body a lot faster. So the absorption rate happens a lot quicker before any of the cannabinoids can deteriorate or become inactive or get put through the body or digested or put in places that it can't function. So it starts absorbing a lot faster. The benefit to this is it's a little bit more expensive, but you get more of the bioavailability. So if you take 10 milligrams, it'll be more like 50 or 60 milligrams. So if you were to have to buy 60 milligrams of cannabis at 10 cents a milligram, you're talking a $6 edible. But if it was at 12 cents, but you only needed 10, you're talking $1.20 edible. So it can save you a lot of money by changing the bioavailability of the product.
I would imagine, since this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and just in our country,
yep,
not forget what's going on worldwide, but that there is now, and you talked about it as a banned substance for many years. There's very little research that was done,
right?
Because you'd have to have a special license and a controlled environment, right, and a laboratory and all that. But now, I mean, you just mentioned two types of research that I've never heard of before: the nanotechnology and
a lot of that
lipo, whatever it is. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, well, a lot of people are doing the research on the CBD first, and then just putting it in and bringing it into the THC industry, because they can't do the research on the THC because it's still a Class 1 drug, but CBD they can. So as soon as THC comes off Class 1 drugs, colleges can then start doing university studies on it and papers, and they can do placebo studies, and we could find out in 10 years more than we've known over the last 200 on the cannabis plant and what it can do and what it does to our body and interacts. But until they take that away as a Class 1 drug, we have to rely on the research for CBD, and hopefully it's the same effects as THC on the body.
There are spin-off industries when we talk about cannabis, and I just thought of this. I went to Indiana a couple years ago to give a speech, and one of the people in this small farming community talked about, he had, 100,000 acres of cannabis that he was growing, but it was hemp.
Yep.
And it wasn't. They were making sure they got rid of all the female plants or whatever. Whichever one.
Right.
Is that right?
Well, they wanted to keep the female plants and kill the male plants, unless they're doing it for. It depends on what they're doing it for. If they're doing it for the textile industry or other things,
textile.
Then they probably wanted to get rid of the females and keep the males.
Right. That's what he said. Yeah,
because you're actually growing longer, thicker sticks, and the fibers are a lot more.
Okay.
I mean, right now, if somebody could figure out how to make a machine that could make 2x4s and plywood out of hemp, think about the price of wood going down, and it would, a $120 piece of plywood right now at Home Depot. At least hemp could go in there.
Somebody's working on that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are, right?
Yeah, I've tried to find a couple studies on it to see, and the most unique thing I found that they're using CBD or hemp for is it's just as conductive as graphite, which I believe they use in alternators and generators and things like that. Mm-hmm. So they're starting to wrap those things with hemp instead of the graphite and stuff, and it's cutting the cost down by like 2/3. So anytime that we can use hemp into different products, it's so easily grown and made that it cuts the cost of everything.
So could you have a plant that has multi-use? In other words, would you?
I don't think so. I don't. I mean, if you were going for one, yes and no. I guess the leaves and the outside material, if you're trying to do it for the textile industry, you could use as animal feed and things like that. But as far as a sellable product or something that, if you're trying to make edibles, you need a certain grade of hemp to do that. If you're doing clothing, you need a certain grade to do that. If you're doing the textile and woods and other things, you're going to need a certain grade for that. So by trying to make a multi-use plant, you'd be degrading the uses that it's for.
Kind of like multitasking, a good excuse to do more than one thing poorly at the same time.
Yeah, and unless you're me, then you get to do everything at the same time well.
No, no, that's a delusion. That's a delusional thing. So,
I'm great. Just ask me.
Okay, yeah. So, Francis, when you talk about these plants, now we've just gotten into another kind of word thing, and I'm trying to, whatever Joe said, educated. We say the word hemp,
mm-hmm.
and is hemp the generic plant? Is that what it was called?
Hemp would be considered a plant that has higher CBD than THC. So hemp would be considered, as a definition by our government, any plant that has less than 0.3% THC. Anything above that, they consider a cannabis plant or a marijuana plant.
Does it look different? Is it bigger? Does it grow different? Has it got a different stock?
It grows differently. I mean, if you walked into a room and you had a bunch of CBD plants and a bunch of THC plants, you might not be able to tell the difference from them. But anybody that's been around plants for more than 6 months, you start being able to know the difference.
What about in a field? Are they, when they grow it in Indiana on these big places, and they're growing it for multi-use, not for recreational smoking of marijuana. It's an industrial use. Does it look like they grow it in rows like corn? Or
they do. They basically do, and most of those are clones. So the plants look identical from one another because they're basically the same plant, just row after row after row after row of them. Back in the 1900s. They used to use hemp every 7 years in cornfields to pull out all the poor nutrients and everything else, because the cannabis plant is so good for the ground and everything else. It pulls all the crap out, the bad nutrients, the heavy metals.
We can say crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say that. Yeah. You caught yourself.
Yeah, I did catch myself.
Yeah.
But and that's why they would use the hemp plant, is because it would help clean the really the heavy metals and the things that you don't want in your dirt.
What's the difference between hemp and cannabis?
Really, it's a definition by the state. As far as when the plant was growing originally, it was probably always just a cannabis plant, and then slowly humans started manipulating it to grow one way or the other way, and then the government stepped in and said, this one's illegal and this one you can use.
And if hemp and cannabis are cousins, at least, right? They're definitely related. Then where does the word marijuana come in, and what does that mean?
Marijuana was used in the 1930s because it sounded like it was a Mexican word. So to prey on the racism in America, that was just a propaganda term. If before 1928, marijuana was not even a word in the English language or anything else. It's not used in any other country or anything else. So that's why in this industry we try to use cannabis, and that's why a lot of us don't like the fact that it's a medical marijuana card, because technically marijuana is just a term that they came up with for prohibition.
There you go. And now you learn something new every day. I can take the rest of the day off. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Do you, if you're just starting out and you're taking it for seizures, just a suggestion, what would you use in the medicine part of it, or the CDC of it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Oh, the question is, if you were just starting out and you haven't taken the product at all, and you wanted to take it medicinally, Tony, that's what you're asking, right?
Yep.
As a medicine. Yep. So if you wanted to take it as a medicine, and he's just starting out, what kind of would you mind sharing like some idea of what the symptoms are that you're trying to deal with, or what the disease is that you might have?
Well, seizures would be one thing, and I've smoked some with a higher THC, and it made me feel almost like getting a seizure.
Okay.
Like vertigo and motion sickness from it.
All right, and
getting too high.
And did you smoke it or take it as an edible?
I smoked it.
Okay, so that is the fastest way for it to hit your system, and really anybody that I've I've worked with a lot of people as far as one-on-one, getting them to try cannabis and walking them through how to start it so that you don't get that paranoid feeling, you don't get that vertigo feeling, and you don't feel like you're counteracting what you're trying to fix with it. So I've always told people to basically start off with a low-dose edible, because you won't get the mental feeling as much as you will off of smoking it. But if you are going to smoke it, I always recommend basically taking a very small puff and putting it out and waiting a half an hour to see where it gets you to an hour, and then doing it again and doing it again and documenting how you feel and everything else, because each person is different, and some people have a very active endocannabinoid system, and some people it's not as active, so it can take more for it to get moving and stuff like that. My mom is a 1 milligram, 2 milligram, and she's off the chart. She doesn't feel good. She just feels like she's losing control and everything else, where most people 2 to 3 milligrams, they don't even feel it. It doesn't register that their body's any different or anything else. So it really depends on the person. It sounds to me like you might have a high sensitivity to it. So I would always start off with a ratio of something that was probably 3 to 1, 3 CBD to 1 THC, because CBD will help counteract the bad things that cannabis can do for certain people, the paranoia, the vertigo, the things like this.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Thanks for your call, Tony.
And if you do start off with something that's CBD and it's full spectrum, there are trace elements of THC in there, and very rarely have we heard of anybody feeling that they got a psychoactive feeling from them. Most people that claim they get a psychoactive feeling from CBD, it's because it's actually working and it took away some sort of pain level or something that they've been dealing with for a long time. And when that goes away, there's a little bit of euphoria, a little bit of happiness. Your body gets a little bounce in its step because it's been dealing with this pain or this issue for a long time, and now CBD is helping out. And a lot of people will think that they got high just because they found relief from it. And most of those people don't even know what high feels like. They just have something in their head that they believe this is what people are talking about when they say high. And, coming from somebody who has been high and taking 2.5 grams a day and used it to save my life, sometimes you have to go through those bad feelings to get through.
Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line? No. Hello? Nope. Call. Change.
Try again.
Trades and sales. 5 minutes before 10 o'clock. We got a little more time here with Chef Francis this morning. So let's go back to Tony's question. Yeah, he has symptoms. He has seizures, medical condition. He hasn't tried it. He's thinking about trying it. Is that someone that he should? And the general information would be you should consult with a doctor.
Absolutely.
He should go and talk to his doctor because he's got.
But make sure your doctor has an understanding of what cannabis is too.
Okay, so let's say his doctor says, "Yeah, you're probably a good prospect for some type of cannabinoid treatment." You're kind of recommending that he would go with the CBD. To begin with,
it was CBD. Introduce THC at low increments until you figure out how it's affecting you.
Now, how can he do that? I mean, okay, great, good advice. And is he going to get a medical marijuana card?
He should, because you're going to want to get dosages of more than
medical cannabis card. We should call it that if we don't want to use that bad word.
If you get your medical card. You can start off with smaller doses. So you could start off with something like a gummy bear that has 10 milligrams in it and cut it into 5 or 6 pieces and take a little piece every 45 minutes to see where you're at and to see how it makes you feel and to see if it regulates or does anything. I know a lot of people that are working with the seizures and stuff like that, and almost all of them with seizures are working with higher doses of CBD with lower doses of THC. It seems like CBD seems to be helping with the seizures more than the THC is, but the THC needs to be present to help unlock the endocannabinoid system and let cannabis do what it does throughout the brain. Did I get you with the unlock?
No, I'm just number one. My heart goes out to Tony and other people who are suffering symptoms that they can't get relief from, and it's just an awful thought, that it's a terrible way to live.
Yes.
And if there's help out there, hopefully, and you mentioned the other critical thing. You say, well, you need to talk to a doctor who's educated,
right?
But most doctors are not.
Most doctors are not. I mean, they don't take. It's not like it's taught. I mean, if you think about the last time you went to your doctors and he asked you about your diet, they don't have any nutritional background either. I mean, it's really 100 years ago we used food to cure ourselves and medicine to make ourselves slightly feel better. Now everything's medicine. Everything. I just saw that there's a huge lawsuit going on about barbiturates because of being overprescribed for so many years, and that's a huge issue as far as medicine, and that's the go-to for a lot of doctors as far as when you go to see them. I have a back pain. Here, try this.
Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
This is Donna.
Hi, Anna.
And I just want to say, stay high, America. Don't do the pills. Love you, Payson.
That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah. Stay high, America.
Yeah.
That's not where we're. It's a funny statement, but that's not what we're about and how I make my medicine and why I make my medicine. I make my medicine to help people regulate themselves and have an alternative to taking a leave every night to the point where your stomach bleeds and have issues. So
yeah. All right, I got time for another one. Good morning. Welcome to the forum. Who's on the line?
Hi, my name's Pam.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. Just a quick question. I caught some of the show, not all of it, but so I have migraines, and I wake up every single day with a headache. I used to train horses, buku concussions, and the lovely insurance company have stepped in and decided to take control of all medications, even the medications that I've been on, the same exact medications to try to help me through the headaches and migraines for over 20 years. Now I'm having to battle them, the insurance company, to get my prescriptions. The doctors are fine with it. The pharmacist is fine with it. The insurance company is saying, we'll be fine with it if you pay a whole lot of extra money each month, which I'm not going to do. So I was just wondering what you have, and I didn't catch how, if you're open, you're not open, or where to go to talk to Francis to try to get some answers. And I'm going to hang up so that I can hear everything.
Sure.
Super. Thank you for your call.
So your best bet is to, first off, go over to the general store and meet with Omar and Joey and speak with them. And if you really need to sit down with me and have a conversation and we can try to figure out a regimen or a plan or at least get ideas of the way I would proceed if I was you on trying to help with the migraine relief, just talk with Joey and Omar and they'll get an appointment set up with me and we can sit down anytime and go over what I think. My wife suffers from migraines. She still has them. Cannabis has helped a lot, but there's also a lot of other things out there that she's been doing that can help out too. So I would love to sit down with you at some point. So go ahead and just go to the general store, speak with Omar and Joey, tell me we're on the radio and that you would like to reach out to me, and they'll figure out how to schedule an appointment with me.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you.
Learn a lot as always. Forum sponsors are Sunshine Cleaning and Restoration, the Owens Law Firm, Realty Executives Arizona Territory, Pinnacle Propane, Banner Health, Payson Medical Center, and the Dana Law Group. Till tomorrow, I think Dr. Hallman is in here. We're going to talk about animals. Might ask them if the animals have a cannabinoid system too. Do they?
What's that?
Do animals have a cannabinoid system?
Anything with a spine.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll ask them about that. It's a minute after 10 o'clock at KMOG Payson.